Hey everybody, Zyle here. Welcome back with another episode of Brackene Not Included. Posting another update to how things have been going in the base. There's been definitely some ups and downs, mostly related to food. Still trying to get the balance correct. I had first major disaster again with some pip meat situation where I didn't quite comprehend what I was doing and created myself a disaster scenario. As well as now, it's just a matter of trying to balance the amount of meat that's being produced from the pip farms, then with the mealwood that has to, give me enough food to satisfy these ravenous 16 characters that I'm dealing with. Last episode I had, I believe I had put in the critter condo, and I guess I didn't do enough research to understand. I thought the critter condo alone was going to allow me to have 12 pips in a ranch, so that's incorrect. In order to achieve the 12 pip maximum, you also need to have the critter fountain. This thing gives them +5. So we could look at this pip here. He is tame, cozy, groomed, but he hasn't had a drink of brackene, so he is not. His mood is not happy. It's just satisfied. It's still I'm trying to get the balance going, so that can be a bit of an issue in trying to get that to balance. As you can see, all these are waiting for their brackene. Now it is coming. I'm producing it, and then it's getting delivered through the piping down to here. So how did I do that? Well, I'll go over all the math in a bit. But basically, if you don't have the brackene for them, and then you can have 9 in with the critter condo. So the critter condo lets you get 1 more. So it's not that great of a benefit, but at the same time, when a tree is drinking a fair amount of polluted water and you're trying to maximize these farms, I mean, the goal is to get 12. So where am I getting my brackene from? Well, it's from this plant pulverizer, which is... Oh, now I know why it's not working. I just realized I had been doing some work in here, changing a few things around, and of course I had to get in, so I had ripped out my water pump, put in a ladder so they could get down here. Did that work, forgot all about it, and haven't fixed it. So we can go ahead and sort that out real fast, because that is why my brackene has stopped. I maybe should have noticed that before I started the video, but that's the way the game goes. So I'll do that, and we'll get picture pump. It's amazing how you can do something so little and then destroy a system. And I normally had been hovering egg-wise at like 125 plus eggs. And then recently it's been dropped down to 110. And of course the food suddenly became an issue again, because I thought I had it all balanced. And now I realize what happened. Like I went on Ani Calculator. I calculated how much these were producing along with the mealwood I had. And I was above it. Like I wasn't counting even the Dreco farm or the ones that come off of these 6 plants. And I still had a couple extra mealwood. And overall, I should have been above. I should have been creating a slight surplus, which I want to, because I need to give barbecue to the rocket guy when he goes off on a mission. And then about 15 cycles ago, all of a sudden I ran into like starvation issues and food issues. And I thought, oh, I guess it just, my math's wrong, or something's going on. So I added all these 4, 8, 11, and these ones. So I added all that, like 16 or 17 more plants in. And that's been like 10 or 12 cycles ago. And still I'm running on the border. Well, now I realize it's because these 2 brackene fueled farms aren't working, because I forgot to put this pump back. So amazing. Like one little thing you do can cause so many problems that you suddenly are scrambling to deal with it. If you can't, basically it's like debugging code. If you can't debug the code to find out where the issue is, you can get in a tailspin. So actually I'm glad I made a video, because it allowed me to discover the flaw. So once this is back in, And then they'll be able to utilize this. So anyways, they'll get that wrapped up fast enough. So just to go over that, how that system works, and you see they're going to be pumping into this thing immediately. And they'll start jumping on this. This is a plant pulverizer, and basically it takes certain types of plants, nosh beans or sleet wheat or pinch a peppernut, and it makes brackene, and then the brackene just flows through the piping down to these kitty fillers. And I'm making enough consistently to keep both of them full. So, and that's all I can make right now. So I can run 2. So that means I can have 2 farms of 12 and the rest are of 9. Now, where am I getting my pincha? Well, I have gone and added these lovely farms. And here's the mathematical formula. Unbelievable the amount of brackene you need to achieve this result. And probably fairly so because, this is giving +5 to their mood, which means you can have 12 in a farm, and just so happens that a tree can feed 12. So it's now that it's full, you'll see like some of them are drinking from it now, right? Let's see if we can find one here. So it's hydrated, so its mood's happy, right? So they'll all get like that. And so what happens is 12 of them will drink 60 kilograms of brackene per cycle. That's a fair amount. You need, in order to make 20 kilograms of it, you need 3,000 grams of pinch of peppernut, right? So, we go back up and we check. I probably have a lot of excess pincha right now because I haven't run it for a while, but that's besides the point. I need a stable system. So, basically, 18 pinch of peppernuts is what you would need, okay, in order, and that's harvesting them, in order to fill one of these to feed 12 every cycle. The math works out perfectly. 18 equals this. Now, each pinch of plant, they drink, I believe, 35 kilograms of polluted water per cycle. It's quite significant, okay? If you start trying to calculate that out, that's quite significant. So, in order to run 2 of them, what I'm doing is using the farms and the micronutrients. Okay, so now if you get a farm micronutrient, then you'll need 9. And with the sweeper, farms of 9 works really good. So 2 farms of 9, right? As you can see, yep, they're set up. 2 farms of 9 is then enough set up that way to feed 2 of these. And I have 2 of them. And it is, when it's going, these are always available. They're always all hydrated. They're always all happy. And so that allows me to have more of them. Okay, so let's think about the amount of water you're looking at. Like, it's really quite a bit, right? 35 kilograms across 18. So I did a whole bunch of math crunching, because I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I need 7 of these. I need 7 of these. I don't know if the farmers will be able to handle it, but, let's try it. Let's just start building. I was going to build a whole bunch of them up here and have 7 of them. Now, I was actually going to start lower down so I could squeeze more in, but ultimately I just decided on this because when I did the math, the amount of overall polluted oxygen that this vent will create is only enough to run 2.5 farms flat out. And I'm using some of this for augmenting the feed the trees. So this is going to augment the trees and feed 2 farms. And I know it sounds insane that one vent can only handle that much, but that is it. I ran it through the Ani calculator for a geyser calculator to see what the overall per second production ability, even with dormant times and everything. And this one's not very good either. It's 288 at 549, but then it's 62.3 for every 117. So it's only active 50% of its cycling time, right? So it can only manage to feed 2 farms plus the augmentation that I'm giving it. And that's not even that much. It's literally at that limit. And that's my only real source of polluted water. If I had another geyser, well, then maybe I could do 4. So, and then I looked at sleet wheat as an alternative in nosh beans. It doesn't matter. It all works out to massive water requirements, massive math requirements that are going to be needed if you want to possibly pulverize to feed multiple of these. So okay, so I'm good with 2 because you know what, that puts it, just lets me use less mealwood, and it gets me close to my goal. So did my research. Where else can you get brackene from? Well, there's another source, and it's the moo creatures from that moo planet, where I think milking one of them gives you 200 kilograms. So obviously, the ideal situation is to have a moo farm set up. But that's not easy to do. It requires me first discovering where. As you can see, I have not really increased my star map. I haven't been exploring. I plan to, but it means you have to find that planet. And in Space LTC, I think the space zone is bigger than in the normal, but maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like it's a lot bigger than the other one. But yeah, and you know it's going to be somewhere in the outskirts. Like, it's very likely to be somewhere in the outskirts. So finding it is number one, and it's a lot I have to search to figure out where it is. And then setting up a mission to go there and capturing them and so on. It's all achievable, and that's going to be the way I'm going to focus on stuff to get them, because it's the thing that's going to enable my system to really get to where I want it to be. My goal is to get 7 of these farms with 12 all happy in it. And one of the achievements is to tame like every type of creature that you can tame. So, you know, it's like I'm going to have to get moves and tame them in order to do the achievement regardless. But now that's become a new priority of mine. So I'm starting to lean towards that, as far as like, you know, now that I know what's wrong with my food, I can start getting to a situation where I can actually, you know, give the dupe enough food to go on a longer mission. There's another thing I got to do, which is I've got to get the space berry, or whatever it's called in here, the berry sludge going, because it doesn't spoil. I guess I could go with dehydrated, look into dehydration and stuff, but I think that just the berry sludge is the easiest way to go. So I need to get a small sleet wheat farm set up. I'm just not sure where I want to put it or how I want to orchestrate it. I will need a larger one at some point, but I think I just need to get like some of it going, plus then some bristle blossom as well, in order to start making berry sludge. And then that's my space food, and then I can go for longer times, because right now the limiting factor, at first the limiting factor was actually it was stress. The guys are just getting way too stressed out. So I changed my rocket design. I've also moved my rocket up. I could talk a bit about that later, but you know, it was time to free up some room for various reasons. So I'm slowly moving everything up. This is the height of the map. This is going to be where I build out of and give myself a little breathing room for if I want to go bigger. But I plan to go from steam to rad bolts for rocketry. So for now, this one is the long hauler, the space miner one, the one that I go off to the other world to get iron. I got 36 tons of iron because I've made a couple trips there and back since then. It also has tons of phosphorite, which, you know, I might need for the pinches at some point, but the Dracos are producing a lot, so maybe not. But now I'm just started. You can see inside this one, I haven't done anything yet, but this is going to be the exploration / research vehicle. I just have to work on the design that's going to work. So go look at my other rocket, though. You can see I have changed my design yet again. This is my high morale design. It's literally designed for the dupe to be able to make a trip from our home planet to Solo La. You can see it's been snowing here a little bit. It's funny how it hits here like that much, and then the rest of the map isn't really that much. It's just, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, I've been coming here and just getting iron and whatever else I can do. But the time is so limited. It was because of stress, right? I'd get here and I'd have to pull out after about a cycle or two, if that, just because of in fact, honestly, I was coming here for a cycle, grabbing as much as I could, which is about 20 tons of iron each time, and then heading out. So I redesigned the ship inside in order to be a high morale, stress reducing type of ship. So you can see if the rooms, we've got a washroom, we've got a great hall, and we've got, well, right now, because I'm doing stuff, with this gets removed before we go anywhere. I pull this vent is just to fill the area up to 2900 pressure. And once that's done and before I leave, we rip this out, and then this becomes a luxury bedroom. The decor in here is it's great, and it keeps them happy. We've got a shower, which adds to morale. We've got the party line foam for morale. And pretty much just got everything so that the morale will stay above what he needs, and it does. He doesn't ever get the morale stress situation going on. Carpeted tiles, I didn't know this, but not only do they make you run 25% faster, but they give you this buff called Tickled Toes, which is a stress reducing buff. And when you're playing on the max difficulty, anything that reduces stress becomes vitally important. Not things that improve morale, but things that can reduce stress. So that Tickled Toes is great. Like it just isn't, it's a running stress reducer. I don't think a lot of people when they play on the normal mode think about stress so much, because stress really isn't that big of a factor. So if we look on here, Tickled Tootsies. This, right, is from him walking on carpet. And that's, you can see he hasn't left he just woke up. He hasn't left his unit yet. And this is the amount that he got reduced yesterday. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is significant. Because high morale and frankly depressing high difficulty, they go exactly the same. So any day you don't have high morale, you're gonna get a massive amount of stress happening. We have low oxygen because I've been fooling around with some stuff and cleaning different things out. But normally I don't have that. So we always remain just barely above where we're not picking up stress. But if anything goes wrong, like if there's someone throws up in the base, or there's a piece of water left unattended and they walk through it, all of a sudden you start racking up stress. But as you can see, I'm in control of stress. But again, just by putting a single carpet tile, they just touch it once and then they get that running buff all day. You can see, I'll wait till he gets done on the phone, and then he's going to exit, and he should get that buff. Now, hopefully, he's done there. Oh, got to take a shower. Now he should head out. Oh, okay, you know what? So, he still has that from yesterday. I'm just moving to here. So he didn't get it because it hasn't reset yet. I don't know if any of the other ones have it. Yeah, you can see here, okay? So this guy has it, and he's just got it fresh. And for the whole day, it's doing this, right? So it isn't every time he touches carpets. It's once a day he gets that buff. And then look at the massive amount of stress reduction that he gets from that, right? Now, I don't know if it just keeps running, but even if I get 1% less stress, it's more than enough to add up, where if most things are going good, we'll be at negative. So no, that doesn't matter so much for me in the base, because when things are running smoothly, no one's stressed. Where it really matters, though, is inside the space station. This is where the stress starts happening for various reasons. And you just have to make sure that you can run these missions and not have stress. So everything in here is designed for high morale, keep the stress going. I make sure it's barbecue they bring, so there's just no way that because the pilot, the guy we send, has to have more skills actually than a lot of the other guys do. So they tend to have morale break a lot easier. So it's all designed for that. We've got the algae that we store in here, plus it has extra room. This is the storage that I use to whatever I'm going to grab. 20 tons of fridge for food and all that. Managed to cram it all in. One of the problems, though, is radiation. Radiation at highest difficulty is absolutely brutal in space. Where the biggest problem in these space craft is for radiation when they're inside is coming through these areas where the water goes in and out, right? And you can see from this one, it is 183 rads per cycle. Now that's only if they would spend significant time there. The problem is they spend enough time wandering around and doing things, and sometimes when they're idle on a journey, they'll actually be stupid enough to actually go up here and just hang out and stand here. But they're accumulating enough radiation along with them when they're on the other planet that you can get yourself by the end of the trip where he's radiation sickness and vomiting all over the spacecraft, which is immediate stress out situation. Like they just go from like 0 to 40, then to 60 and 80. It's just so fast, and they'll, by the time you land the ship, they've gone into a stress breakdown. So that I've had it where he's got back after like a 2-day on the other planet mission. He just landed and runs in the base at 99% stress, hits 100 and just starts, unfortunately my pilot is a vomiter, and starts throwing up all over the base, right? So it's not very good. So the way that you can reduce it, you can see I put one block here to block it out. So now it's 81 rads. If you can keep everything in here around 80 or lower, it's not bad. Here it's 97 though, okay? Because this does do a little bit of blocking, 25%, then this says 56. So this is then the next big problem. But here is the other one. This one is strong. So ideally in this ship, the way you would want to do it, the anti-radiation, would be to build an entire, not here because you've got too thick here, okay? So you don't need to do it here. But basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you would want to have a block in helping block the radiation. Unfortunately, having to allocate 6 blocks to radiation blocking severely limits what you can do inside here. And for these missions, I've been pulling them off pretty good. I actually micromanage the whole thing quite a bit. I'll watch him when he's inside, and if he starts idling like in a stupid spot, I'll move him like over the shower where it's I'll just move him, and then he'll like hang out here. So I really try to micromanage the radiation so they don't get sick. It does mean shorter missions. It really is a limiter. So, and yes, I could send rad pills along and stuff, but honestly, I hate rad pills. They last only for one cycle. It's not easy to micromanage them. I can do it, of course, right? But it's one of those things where it's like I'd rather just prevent it in the first place, and then with the going to the toilet, it's enough to reduce it. So unfortunately, it does mean that a perfect design would have these 3 blocks. They would be blocked, preferably with something that has extra radiation blocking, maybe lead or like a metal lead tile or something like that, to really tamp it out. But it takes away from your design space. And as you can see with this design, I have crammed in, and I based some of this off of some other designs I saw online, but this has everything crammed in you can possibly do and still be functioning. Even this is not set up ideally where the sensor is over here, but it works. If this bottom layer is getting that full, then it starts to pump it out. So anyway, so that's that one. So then on my other one, now I'm this one, since he's going to be doing exploration and data research, he'll be spending a lot of time in space. So without a doubt, this one has to be designed for radiation blocking. Whereas, I'm not even sure if there's a metal that would, I guess lead. Yeah. If I had any lead, I have 49. If I had some lead, I would use that. But even if you just take a normal tile and you block that off and then base your whole design on the fact that these are blocked off, that's going to have to be what I do. Now, the good news is I don't have to cram an airlock or anything in, because he'll be going up in space, staying in here the whole time, and then out. So I got a little bit extra room there. But because he'll be up in space for quite some time, you want him to stay longer. Well, really, to be doing that kind of stuff, you need berry sludge, so you can like go up for a longer duration, and you need to make sure the morale within the spaceship is always going to be consistent, and they can just go and do their work, whether it's the exploration or doing the research. They can just hang out for 10 or 12 cycles or whatever, and get done, or go exploring as far as they can, unmap a bunch of stuff, and then come back. So that is something I'm going to be working on, is a design for this particular scenario. that's going to work. I've looked a bit online, and really, I don't think a lot of people experiment with these max difficulty settings, so I haven't seen anybody posting like the perfect layout, but I'm pretty good at coming up with stuff like that, so I'll work on that. Hopefully by the next video, I'll have this designed. Okay, so back to, also just to check in on reverse the Ilios. So yeah, I got a few more Pacu dumps. They've been living on meat. They've got nice bedrooms. Their stress is consistent 0. They lead a very boring life. They're basically, the only things they have to do is get the meat, which I shouldn't be, that's a problem. Why are these, see, it's like I say, one little thing. Now that's okay, because when they hatch, they're just going to flip back down in. So I haven't been losing any. So but there's no point in bringing the eggs out at all. No reason to be doing that. Okay, so I had been doing that just to clean the whole tank out, because they were going in here and getting their feet wet by going in and getting soaking wet and getting stressed. But they don't go in there anymore. Really, what do? They just empty this thing and they give it some coal. They sleep. They cook their Pacu meat and they work on their farming. And they have plenty of extra. I don't even know if they even need the meal lice anymore with the Pacu. But that's it. They don't do a whole lot because I don't need them to. I hardly ever look over at this planet. It just self-runs itself. So good little colony. So back on the main. This is still running good. So you can see I've built a cooling system in. It's fairly consistent. I don't need to explain a whole lot. It just cools polluted oxygen and runs it through this. I did some fancy temperature checking to make sure it can stay at a consistent like -8, which is kind of more than enough. And you can see in here, yeah, it might be a little bit warm up here, as I expected. It would start to warm up, but down around here, it's been going for a long time. It's maintaining a negative temperature fairly consistently. And so I'm not too worried about it. I keep an eye on it to make sure that it's not starting to get to where I should do something more active. But overall, it's doing. I could probably radiant dump a little bit more, but again, it's working. So until I get to where I'm like, I think it might be getting a little dangerous, I don't think I'm going to worry about it. I think that this is going to just continuously keep it cool enough. And again, if it doesn't, I'll just add more. I'll just tweak it. So then I had the problem where I didn't have naphtha to make a liquid lock that wouldn't freeze over because of the cold temperatures in that old system. So I finally was like, you know what? I'll just build an airlock system like this, where they use a teleporting tube to get down in here. And it works great. And the power from it is off this system. So I'm just burning hydrogen. And as you can see, I have a lot of hydrogen. Just to wrap your head around that, 51 kilograms of hydrogen in a single tile. And the whole thing is like that. It's doing nothing but going up because, like I said, to burn off what this thing is producing, I'd have to have 10 hydrogen generators running full tilt the whole time. If I wanted to even close to tapping into this. And if I ever did, I could just add more farms. So it is working very, very well. And I'm getting scared at how much is in here. The other problem with this much hydrogen is when I had to do all this, because the problem is that every time they were going in and out of here, even though I had it double airlocked, the pressure of hydrogen is so great, it was coming out in big quantities. So finally, it was ugly. I didn't make a video for a couple of days because I was just embarrassed at how much hydrogen was flying through my base, right? At one point, I had pumps set up to try and pump it up to get it out of the main core. As you can see, though, it is very cleaned up. There is really, there's some trapped over here and stuff. I just got a spot clean. So, but more or less, it's gone, right? But when we went when I was finally said, I got to solve this. So when I went to wire this in, and we had to keep going in and out of here. And it was like that time, it was like 35 to 40 kilograms of pressure. The amount of hydrogen that came flooding out of here as we built just this was insane. And I had hydrogen everywhere. It was just like, it was gross. It was just a pink cotton candy swirling mass. I had this cracked open and it was just all flying up. So fine. And it was getting up into here. It was starting to fly in and screw my systems up. So I was just like, okay. And I just cracked open all sorts of holes. This was wide. Like I had this whole roof was just gone, and hydrogen was just flying up through here. And I didn't care because I'd go check and it was still at like 35 kilograms. It was just so much hydrogen. So anyways, luckily the way it was flowing when I built this, I was able to have hydrogen. Not that you need it, but it looks cool. So I was able to have this hydrogenated just from floating. So anyways, finally I cleaned all that up. And yeah, now it's locked off, and I haven't thought about it in quite a while. So a good little system and unlimited power. Every time I want more power, I'm just like, is my batteries being able to keep up? And it's like, yes, they are. Because if they're not, I'll just add 3 more of these, right? So like I said, I moved my rockets up, got 2 of them set up. I'm going to set loaders up, and this is just temporary. This is just radiation blocking and stuff, but I realized I built this in the wrong place. So I'll redo all this so that we've got like loading runs and then a place for the port unloader and loader things to be stuck on here. I wanted a space in between them, so I used the new rocket port extension thing in order to make it a little bit lined up better. So yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. I needed glass because I needed to make more solar panel modules. I still want 1 more, and maybe I think I need 4 on each, but I'll calculate that a little later. Anyway, so I had to make glass, and if anyone's ever played around with the glass forge, this thing's a monster. It overheats like crazy. And when it dumps the glass out, the glass comes out at like 1,200 degrees. It's a really high amount. I don't need to make a whole lot of glass, but I do need glass for solar panels. And I do want to replace all the planters with glass planters, which is a significant amount. So I need to start making glass. I've played around with these before in other maps where I've had lots of space and I've known what I was doing and I got cooling and everything. But in this one, I just kind of went with some mad scientist approach, which was, you know what, I'm just going to hack something together, because my first thing was I just need enough glass to make some solar panels, extra solar panels. And then I was like, but if I can get something that I can hack together that works to get things going, then that'll be good too. I know there's lots of better systems, there always is, but I like to just experiment. That's how I learn about, how things work deep down inside, and then what works, what doesn't work, and can I come up with something that I'm happy with, that works fairly consistently. So I'm pretty happy with what I did here. So I just got locked up in a room. Nothing special. No airlock. It's just whatever. And you can see that some of this hotter water, which is down to, now it's been kicking off. So it's around 55. So hot water is coming out. It's actually, from this corner, it's 58. It's coming out. And I'm just bleeding it off, which of course is further diminishing the cooling ability, but it's temporary. One of the commenters had told me that this is not running efficiently, and certainly when I'm only pumping not steady like this, for sure, right? It's not cooling as fast as it could be, but I need to fix that up. Where the reason why is because this is pumping out 2 ways. So every now and then, it's not steady out this way, but it takes enough percent off that it's not continuous. So basically, because I have unlimited power, I should not be concerned about efficiency of power. I'm just gonna put another pump in here, and one will go one way and one will go the other way. And then when I'm not using this water for the glass cooling, it will just steady pump in, and then I can evaluate like what's going on with my bridges that might be causing this thing not to work at 100% efficiency. So that's it's the weekend, so that's a project for tomorrow for me to look into. But for now, basically this water is coming in, It's hot. I don't care because this thing can handle being hot. It just can't handle being really hot. So it comes in, goes through here, and because below 60, which is great. It hits the radiant pipe, which honestly, this radiant pipe is unnecessary when you're using, because I originally just put a radiant pipe through here, but it wasn't good enough. So then I put in the conduction panel. And so the conduction panel is cooling it, but not fast enough, right? Because again, I don't have enough steady drops. If this was a continuous full blast, you could run it flat out and it would keep it cold. It would keep it cooled down to the point that it would operate. Whereas, you're below 75, I think it is that you want it to be. So that's keeping it cool, but not fast enough. But again, I don't care because I'm not trying to power pump out stuff. I just don't want them to overheat and damage it because then they have to repair it. So what happens here is when he runs in, when the guy fills the sand guy only goes to here and shoots it in. So he doesn't step on this. When he runs in and stands on here, and I've got it, NOR gated, right? That's, you have to make this work the way you want. So he stands on it. It sends a red signal. But the buffer, the first thing is the buffer. The buffer won't let that red signal go through for 18 seconds, which is about enough time for him to do one load of glass. He finishes that. By the time he finishes that load, maybe he starts for a second, another one, but then he stops because it goes negative. And the filter though says don't let the green signal through until you've been receiving for 60 seconds. So it goes red, turns off. He leaves and goes off and does his own thing or whatever. And then 60 seconds, cycle seconds at 3x speed later, it goes green again. And then it's active. So then he comes back to do another one. What happens is this thing cools down through those amounts of liquid coming in through the conduction panel. It cools down and back to enough that he can do it again. And it never overheats, right? So that's how that functions. Then over here, the glass drops down into this water. This water turns into steam. Okay. And as soon as this geyser detects steam, or this element sensor detects steam, it opens this vent, and this vent starts pumping out hydrogen. Now, it's cool hydrogen because all my hydrogen is fairly cool, but it doesn't matter that it's cool or not. That's not the point. The point is it's cooler than the steam. And it mixes, and hydrogen is a great heat absorber. So it comes out and it immediately starts taking all the heat out of the steam, balancing it out, and wanting to float up. And so you can see all this hydrogen is fairly hot. Well, it just ejects itself into space. And I don't care if I'm ejecting tons of hydrogen in space because I have lots and lots of hydrogen. So if this can allow me to grab heat and get rid of it from this whole glass making system, that's fantastic. So I'll let this run for a minute. You can see the hydrogen is mixing with it all. And then what happens is the steam transfers over enough to the hydrogen that the steam cools before it escapes. So the steam's not getting vented out, which you don't want because you've just got this layer of water. This is the only water you're using, and it falls back on the ground at a cooler temperature. You can see here he is. He's gonna get through one. I think he got one, maybe not. Sometimes the timing is slightly off, and I think it depends on the operator as well. So it doesn't matter. They do get it done. I'd like to have seen it drop though, and wait till he comes back. Yeah. So all that steam just rains back down again, and now the hydrogen is hot, and it will just slowly drift out. And so that's the heat. This is how I'm doing a massive heat removal system for this glass forge. Now here he comes. Let's see if he gets one done. Yeah, he finishes that. So there he's finished one. Now he's starting another one. Okay, so you see, like every time he comes, usually there's one dump, and then the glass is dropped. It came out at like over 1,000 degrees, right? Glass is already down to 100 degrees, and the steam is heading off. Hydrogen's pumping in. It's going to mix itself all up. The rain shower is going to start as it cools down, fall down, rinse and repeat. I've done this now for, I don't know, maybe 20 cycles, and it just keeps repeating itself. It works splendidly. So he's back again. Here's a dump. Boom. It steams up. And it rains back down. And the hydrogen pumps in and swirls around and mixes everything up until there's no more steam. So it pumps until there's no more steam. It's a perfect balance. And then boom, it shuts itself down. This all rains down. And slowly the hydrogen removes the heat out into space. And as I said, because I have insane amounts of hydrogen, I don't mind ejecting tons of it into space if that's what's allowing me to have this work. So very hackish, very mad scientist, but sometimes in this game, you don't need elaborate systems, especially for things you're not, like you don't need to make tons and tons and tons of. This isn't a continuous system. I don't need tons of glass. So for getting what I need now, it works. And as soon as I don't want to do it, you just go here and you just turn it off, right? And there you go. It's shut down, no switch necessary. And you could even leave that so things get cooled down a bit and so on. But yeah, I'm just leaving it running for now because, like I say, I want to make enough glass to do my solar panels and then put the glass plant holders in. There might be some other things that I need glass for, but it's nice to have that wired in. So as you can see, we were talking earlier about that brackene system. We're back down to where we've crushed it all, and you can see it because I had saved some up, it's backed up, but it will very quickly go to where it's feeding them just literally enough for those two, and that's all that it can support. So until I can get the move farm set up, I cannot really expand it out, but at least the proof of concept is there where we have, let me find one. So most of them will always be like this, where they'll be groomed, they'll be hydrated, they're cozy. So groomed is what the rancher does. Hydrated is what the critter fountain does. Cozy is what the critter condo does. So then it equals happy mood, despite there being 12 in here. And again, so sometimes it may fluctuate a little, but overall they tend to all have the happy mood. As you can spot check them, the majority down here, happy, 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 right? So that's the way of making bigger farms. And I don't know that many cases where bigger farms is like, why not just have more farms other than for space considerations? It's not like the rancher's time is reduced or anything like that. But with pips, it is important because one tree will feed 12 pips. And one tree drinks 70 kilograms of polluted water per day. So adding more farms is meaning you need way more polluted water. And so by being able to get 12, it's just a perfect formula. If you can get this up and running with 12, the math is wonderful on it. So so now I'm like, I always wondered, why would I ever want to farm moose? Because I didn't know what brackene was. So now I've realized that, hey buddy, you hungry? Yeah, there's, again, I'm that fix. I'm so glad I figured out about that pump being broken. But yeah, so it's like, I never knew, like, why would you want brackene? Why would you want to farm moose? I never seen any videos where people were saying what use they were. But a lot of it is because this whole mood change thing with the creatures, it just came in the last patch. And so now the whole system's changed. So now brackene is really important, and these critter fountains are important in certain case uses, especially with the whole PIP setup. So hoping that I can get that set up. I'm going to now really actively try and find the mood planet and go for that. So anyway, so that's the update. I'm hoping that I'll get another video up tomorrow because it's the weekend. I got more time, and keep everybody updated with the progress as far as how things are playing out. Thanks for listening, and if you don't mind, I'd love it if you'd hit the like button. It maybe will help. Anyways, appreciate everyone who's been watching and commenting on the videos. It gives me incentive to want to keep making them. So anyways, everyone enjoy your weekend.